Imagine waking up one day and realizing life has been playing you all along, setting rules you never agreed to, moving the goalposts just as you're about to score. You've been told to work hard, stay patient, play fair. But what if fair is just a word the game uses to keep you small? This isn't about lying or breaking laws. It's about breaking limits, because sometimes the only way to win at life is to stop playing by its rules. Chapter 1. The Game Nobody Explained. From the moment we open our eyes to the world, we're dropped into a game without instructions. No one hands us a manual. No one tells us how the levels work or what the rules really are. We just wake up one day, crying in a hospital room, and the next thing we know, people are already telling us what to do, what to say, how to act, and what to believe. Society gives us a script before we even learn to speak. Go to school, get good grades, be polite, get a degree, find a job, get married, have kids, retire. That's the plan. But here's the truth. That plan isn't designed for everyone to win. It's designed for everyone to fit. The problem is, fitting in doesn't always mean succeeding. Some people follow that script to the letter and still end up feeling lost, stuck, or invisible. Why? Because the game of life isn't fair. It never was. Think of life as a massive board game. Some players are born on square 10. Others start below 0. Some get lucky dice rolls, family wealth, good health, powerful connections. Others have to climb uphill with nothing but grit and faith. You can do everything right and still lose a turn, while someone who cuts corners gets ahead. That's when the realization hits. The game isn't about fairness, it's about awareness. Awareness changes everything. When you start seeing life not as a fair competition, but as a series of hidden systems, you stop being a victim of it. You begin to recognize patterns, how opportunities move, how people behave, how power flows. You start noticing the invisible rules that shape outcomes. And when you see those rules clearly, you can finally decide whether to follow them, bend them, or create your own. Most people never get to that point. They play by the surface rules because they're scared of what happens if they don't. They do what they're told, not what they truly want. They listen to parents who played it safe, teachers who never left the system, and bosses who profit off obedience. They mistake repetition for progress, but those who cheat life, or rather outsmart it, look at the same game from a higher angle. They see the board differently. They realize that the people at the top aren't always the smartest or the kindest. They're often just the ones who learned how to move in silence, how to take shortcuts without shame, how to bend reality to their will. That doesn't mean you lie or hurt or manipulate others. Cheating life isn't about breaking morals. It's about breaking mental walls. It's refusing to be confined by a system that wasn't built for your success. It's saying, if the door is locked, I'll find a window. It's learning that the fastest path to growth isn't always the straight one. Look around you, at every industry, every profession, every circle of influence. The people who rise aren't necessarily those who waited for permission. They're the ones who took initiative when others hesitated. They built their own doors when none were open. They weren't afraid to experiment, to fail, to be misunderstood. They didn't just play the game, they studied it, analyzed it, then hacked it. The first step to mastering life's game is realizing you're in. Once you stop assuming that the world owes you fairness, you start taking control. You begin to see that rules are often illusions, created by people to maintain order or advantage. Every time you hear someone say, "That's just how it is," know that they're revealing a boundary they've accepted, but you don't have to. For example, think about school. We're told to memorize facts, repeat them, and earn grades that supposedly measure intelligence. But real intelligence isn't about repetition. It's about application. The students who question the system, who challenge teachers, who think independently, are often labeled as troublemakers. But years later, those same kids become innovators, artists, entrepreneurs. They cheated the system by not letting it define them. In the workplace, it's the same. You're taught to climb the ladder one step at a time, to wait your turn, to be patient. But the ladder is crowded. The bold ones don't climb, they build their own. They network, take risks, and learn skills no one told them to learn. They may skip a few steps. And to others, it looks unfair, but what they're really doing is recognizing opportunity before it becomes obvious. Awareness gives you power. Once you start noticing how the game is played, you stop reacting emotionally to every setback. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. You begin to understand that luck favors the observant, not just the hard-working. You notice how people speak, how decisions are made, how systems reward certain behaviors. And instead of fighting the system blindly, you learn to dance with it, to move strategically. But awareness alone isn't enough. You need courage, because the moment you see the truth, you'll feel a pull to go back to comfort, to blend in again. The world will try to guilt you for wanting more, for not following the normal way. It will call you impatient, arrogant, or even unethical for questioning the rules. But remember, every great disruptor was once called a cheat. Every rule breaker who changed the world first had to survive being misunderstood. Cheating life is not a one-time act. It's a mindset. It's the willingness to think differently every day. It's waking up and asking, what if there's another way? It's realizing that the game rewards creativity more than compliance. It's knowing when to follow structure and when to burn it down. Once you begin to live with that awareness, life starts to unfold differently. The noise quiets. You stop chasing approval and start chasing mastery. You begin to play by instinct, not imitation. You start to see that behind every rule is a loophole. Behind every obstacle is a door only the bold can see. And that's the ultimate truth. Life doesn't explain the game because it wants you to discover it for yourself. It wants to see how far you'll go to understand it. Those who never question stay where they are. Those who learn to read between the lines, they rise. So the next time you feel lost, remember this. You were never meant to have the rule book. You were meant to write it. The moment you stop expecting life to be fair and start learning how it really works, that's the moment you start to win. Because the game isn't about playing perfectly, it's about playing consciously. And once you see the game for what it truly is, you'll never play small again. Chapter 2. When the system doesn't see you. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you realize that no matter how hard you work, how polite you are, or how patient you remain, the system just doesn't seem to notice you. You give your best, and somehow it still isn't enough. You follow every rule you were told to follow. Study hard, show up early, be reliable, yet someone with half your effort and twice your confidence walks right past you. That's when the truth hits you. The system doesn't reward effort. It rewards visibility, and visibility doesn't always come from playing fair. The world is built like a stage, and not everyone gets the spotlight. Some people are handed it from birth. Their background, family name, or connections light the way for them. Others must fight just to be seen, just to prove that they exist. But life has a cruel trick. It often confuses silence for weakness. If you wait quietly, hoping the system will eventually notice your hard work, you'll grow old waiting. That's where the art of cheating life begins. Not by pretending to be someone you're not, but by learning how to make yourself seen in a world designed to overlook you. Because If the system doesn't see you, you have two choices: disappear or disrupt. The system, whether it's school, work, or society, runs on perception. It rewards those who know how to be perceived as valuable, not just those who are valuable. Think about it. Promotions don't always go to the most skilled employee. They often go to the one who knows how to communicate their impact. Fame doesn't always come to the most talented artist. It comes to the one who mastered the language of attention. The game isn't always fair, but it's always running. And if you don't learn how it works, you'll become invisible inside it. From a young age, most people are taught to be humble, to keep their heads down, to let their work speak for itself. But work doesn't speak, people do. And those who learn how to speak about their value confidently and clearly move faster than those who wait to be noticed. Humility has its place, but in a system that thrives on noise, silence often gets mistaken for insignificance. So how do you cheat a system that doesn't see you? By rewriting what visibility means. You stop waiting for permission to shine. You start building your own stage. You use every resource, every connection, every opportunity, no matter how small, to amplify your presence. You start showing up in rooms you weren't invited to, starting conversations others are afraid to have, and letting your actions create echoes that can't be ignored. Sometimes, cheating life means changing the angle instead of the effort. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. If you've been shouting in a room that refuses to listen, maybe it's time to find a new room. If the gatekeepers won't open the door, build your own gate. The truth is, the world doesn't owe you attention. You have to command it. Consider the innovators, the artists, the entrepreneurs who came from nothing. Many of them didn't rise because they were given a chance. They rose because they created one. They refused to let the system decide when their time would come. They self-promoted when others stayed quiet. They used what they had, not what they wished for, and turned it into something the system couldn't ignore. But this mindset takes courage, because when you start to make yourself seen, you'll face resistance. The system will try to shame you for being too loud, too ambitious, or too confident. People will whisper that you're trying too hard, that you've changed, that you've become selfish. But that's only because they're still waiting for permission, and you've realized you don't need it. When the system doesn't see you, it's not a sign of your lack. It's proof that you're operating outside its comfort zone. Systems are designed to maintain order, not to reward individuality. They prefer predictable players, not wild cards. But progress never came from people who stayed predictable. Every movement, every innovation, every revolution in history started because someone refused to remain unseen. To cheat life, when the system overlooks you, you must learn the power of reinvention. Don't cling to one version of yourself. Be willing to evolve. If the world can't understand your voice, change your language. If your ideas are ignored, change your delivery. Visibility is not luck, it's strategy. It's learning how to translate your worth into a form the world can't dismiss. And remember, visibility doesn't always mean fame. It means impact. It means people know your value even when you're not in the room. It means you've built a name that carries weight, that takes time, consistency, and an unshakable belief in your vision. Many people give up because they confuse rejection with failure, but rejection is just a filter. It separates the ones who wait from the ones who adapt. Every no you receive is a hidden test, asking, how bad do you want this? Those who cheat life don't see rejection as a wall, they see it as a redirection. They understand that sometimes being unseen by the system is the best thing that can happen, because it forces you to build a new one. The truth is, you don't need the system's approval to win. You need its awareness. And if it won't give you that, you take it, not through deceit, but through undeniable presence. You start doing things so authentically, so relentlessly, that the world has no choice but to notice. You must learn to market your worth, not exaggerate it, express it. You must learn to speak about your goals as if they already exist. Because once you start believing you belong, the world starts to adjust around that energy. Confidence, when grounded in skill, becomes a magnet. It pulls opportunities toward you, the kind that the old version of you would have been too humble to even ask for. Here's the final truth about being unseen. It's temporary, but only if you choose to change it. Everyone starts invisible, but those who keep showing up, experimenting, creating, and learning eventually glow too brightly to ignore. The system may not have been built for you, but that's exactly why you're here, to build something better. So when the world looks past you, don't shrink. Don't doubt your worth. Don't let invisibility turn into self-erasure. Stand taller. Move louder. Let your work be a statement, your growth a rebellion, because sometimes the greatest way to cheat life isn't by breaking its rules. It's by proving that you can win even when it refuses to see you. Chapter 3: The Art of Strategic Rebellion. There's a fire that lives inside everyone, a quiet defiance that whispers, "There has to be more than this." Most people spend their lives trying to silence that voice. They bury it under jobs they hate, routines that numb them, and rules that keep them safe. But deep down, that voice never dies. It's the part of you that refuses to accept a life handed to you. It's the part that wants to question, challenge, and break free. And that voice, that rebellion, is where true transformation begins. Rebellion doesn't always look like chaos. It's not about shouting or fighting or breaking laws. True rebellion is internal. It's quiet, deliberate, and strategic. It's about having the courage to say no to the life others have scripted for you, and the clarity to design your own. Strategic rebellion is an art form, the art of knowing when to defy, how to defy, and why to defy. Because rebellion without direction is noise, but rebellion with purpose, that's evolution. Most people are afraid of rebellion because they were taught that obeying is safer. From childhood, we're told that good things come to those who listen, follow instructions, and don't question authority. And yes, obedience can keep you out of trouble, but it can also keep you out of greatness. The people who change the world, the ones whose names echo through time, were never the ones who followed the manual. They were the ones who wrote their own. Strategic rebellion begins the moment you start questioning the shoulds in your life. You should get a stable job. You should play it safe. You should wait your turn. Every should is a cage disguised as advice. Every should is someone else's fear passed down to you. The rebel inside you knows that those rules weren't written for your freedom. They were written for your control. And the moment you see that clearly, the moment you realize that breaking certain rules isn't wrong, it's necessary, that's when life starts to expand. But rebellion, by itself, can burn you out. The key is strategy. You don't rebel against everything. You choose your battles. You study the system before you challenge it. You learn its language so well that when you finally break free, no one can deny your mastery. The smartest rebels don't fight the system head-on. They infiltrate it. They play the game long enough to understand its weaknesses, then quietly rewrite its rules from within. Think of it like chess. A reckless player makes bold moves without thought and loses fast. But a strategic player studies the board. They sacrifice pieces with intention. They think 3 moves ahead. The goal isn't just to fight, it's to win. Life works the same way. You don't need to burn down every wall you encounter. You just need to find the one door that wasn't locked. Strategic rebellion is knowing when to walk away, when to push back, and when to play along, temporarily. Some of the world's most powerful innovators, leaders, and creators were rebels in disguise. They learned the art of blending in just long enough to gather what they needed: knowledge, experience, influence, and then used it to build something different. They didn't announce their rebellion, they embodied it. Every time they refused to settle, every time they chose authenticity over approval, they were rebelling strategically. You can't cheat life by being reckless, but you can outsmart it by being intentional. Strategic rebellion isn't about ego, it's about evolution. It's about recognizing when a rule serves you and when it traps you. It's about unlearning the fear of being misunderstood. Because when you step outside the lines, people will label you. They'll call you arrogant, unrealistic, rebellious. But remember this: every pioneer was called a fool before they became a legend. To live strategically rebellious means to hold both wisdom and wildness at the same time. You learn how to move in silence when the noise gets too loud. You learn how to choose peace over reaction. You start realizing that the most powerful statement isn't always confrontation. Sometimes it's persistence. Sometimes rebellion looks like showing up again and again when the world expects you to quit. But make no mistake, rebellion comes with a price. It demands courage. The courage to be alone when no one understands you. The courage to stand firm when your choices don't make sense to others. The courage to build something out of nothing. When the crowd calls you crazy, strategic rebellion doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the chaos of uncertainty, and yet that's where all meaningful change is born. If you want to cheat life, if you want to stop being a player and start being the designer, you have to unlearn blind obedience. Start asking why things are the way they are. Question traditions that make no sense. Challenge systems that reward mediocrity and punish originality. But don't fight every battle with anger. Fight them with awareness. Every decision you make should serve your higher purpose, not just your frustration. You don't need to destroy the system to rise above it. You just need to stop letting it define you. The moment you realize that you can exist outside the structures that limited you, you begin to taste real freedom. You understand that success isn't about fitting in. It's about standing out with intention. You start to live life not as a reaction, but as a revolution. The truth is, rebellion isn't about breaking rules for the sake of chaos. It's about breaking patterns that keep you from growing. It's the moment you say, "I refuse to live the same day over and over." It's when you stop asking for approval and start building your own validation. It's when you learn that the cost of peace of mind is sometimes other people's understanding, and that's a trade worth making. So how do you practice strategic rebellion today? Start small. Say no when something doesn't align with you, even if it disappoints others. Speak up when silence feels like betrayal. Try the idea that scares you, not the one that looks safe. Take a risk that pushes you closer to who you're meant to be. Don't wait for the right moment. Create it. Every rebel has a reason. Find yours. Let it anchor you when things get hard. Because when you move with purpose, even your rebellion becomes sacred. You're not fighting life. You're partnering with it on your own terms. You're not breaking rules. You're bending them toward your destiny. In the end, strategic rebellion isn't about defiance. It's about direction. It's choosing evolution over acceptance. It's saying, "I don't want to destroy the game. I want to change how it's played." And when you finally master that, life stops feeling like something you're surviving and starts feeling like something you're shaping. Chapter 4. When failure becomes a teacher. Failure. It's the word everyone dreads, the one we spend our lives trying to avoid. From the time we're children, we're taught that failure is something to fear, a mark of weakness, a sign that we're not good enough. We grow up chasing perfection, terrified of mistakes, desperate for approval. But here's the truth: no one tells you failure is not the opposite of success. It's the path to it. Every person who's ever achieved something extraordinary has met failure first, not once, but many times. The difference is, they didn't run from it. They studied it. They let it break them open, and then they rebuilt themselves wiser. Failure, when faced with courage, becomes the most honest and powerful teacher you'll ever have. The world hides that truth because it worships results. We celebrate the win, not the wounds that came before it. We see the finished product, not the sleepless nights, rejections, and self-doubt that shaped it. The stories of triumph are always edited. The struggles are cropped out, but the game of life doesn't work that way. You can't skip the losses. You can only learn to use them. When you fail, life isn't punishing you. It's refining you. It's showing you what doesn't work, so you can get closer to what does. Every rejection is redirection. Every setback is information. The people who cheat life aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail better each time. They extract lessons from their losses instead of letting those losses define them. Failure strips away illusion. It humbles you. It makes you confront yourself in ways success never will. It asks hard questions. Do you really want this? Are you willing to try again? Can you handle being misunderstood, underappreciated, and underestimated? It exposes your insecurities, your pride, your ego, and that's uncomfortable. But discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Think about a sculptor. They start with a block of stone, rough and unformed. Every mistake, every chip, every broken edge, that's part of the process. The sculptor doesn't curse the stone for resisting. They learn how to work with it. That's what failure does to you. It shapes you into something stronger, something truer. The pain you feel after failing is simply the sound of the old version of you breaking away. But here's the part most people miss. Failure doesn't just test your skill, it tests your spirit. It reveals whether you're chasing something for validation or for purpose. Because when you fail, no one's clapping. There's no applause, no spotlight, no reassurance. It's just you, sitting in silence, asking yourself if you're willing to get back up. That moment, that quiet decision to try again, is where real strength is born. The most dangerous thing about failure isn't the fall. It's what you tell yourself after. If you label yourself as a loser, you'll live like one. But if you label the experience as a lesson, you turn pain into progress. Words shape reality. I failed is temporary. I'm a failure is permanent. And it's a lie. You're not the failure. You're the person learning through it. Life will test you in ways that feel unfair. You'll pour your heart into something and watch it crumble. You'll trust people who disappoint you. You'll invest years into plans that don't work out. But those moments aren't endings. They're recalibrations. They're detours toward the path you were meant to take. Sometimes, failure is the only way life can get your attention. When you learn to see failure as a teacher, you stop fearing it. You start asking, what is this trying to show me? Maybe it's revealing a blind spot. Maybe it's testing your patience. Maybe it's teaching you resilience. Every time you rise after falling, you grow a little sharper, a little stronger, a little more immune to the chaos of life. The greatest innovators in history were all failures. First, Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a phenomenon. These people didn't cheat life by avoiding failure. They cheated it by refusing to stop at it. Failure is the universe's way of checking your commitment. It asks, do you really want this? Or do you just like the idea of it? Because if you only love your dream when it's easy, you'll never survive when it gets hard. The truth is, everyone wants success, but few want the discomfort that comes with it. And yet, The discomfort is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. When you fail, your ego dies a little. That's good. Ego is the barrier between you and growth. Failure humbles you just enough to make you teachable again. It opens your mind to advice, to change, to learning. It clears away arrogance and makes room for wisdom. Every person who has evolved has at some point been brought to their knees by failure. That's where humility and power meet. Cheating life doesn't mean skipping failure. It means mastering it. It means falling forward, using each mistake as momentum. It means looking at a closed door and realizing that maybe it wasn't your door. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about acknowledging the pain, then channeling it into something useful. When failure visits, sit with it. Don't drown it out with noise or distractions. Let it speak. Let it tell you what it came to teach you. Maybe it's telling you to be patient. Maybe it's telling you to pivot. Maybe it's reminding you that you're capable of more than you think. And then, when you're ready, stand up and keep moving. Because the difference between the ones who make it and the ones who don't isn't talent, it's endurance. The winners aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who keep walking even when they're bleeding. So the next time you fail, remember, it's not the end of the story, it's the middle of the lesson. Failure isn't your enemy, it's your evolution. Every scar you earn is proof that you were brave enough to try. Every mistake is a map, pointing you toward mastery. And one day, when you finally succeed, you'll look back and realize the failures weren't the detours, they were the training. Because in the end, life doesn't cheat the people who fail. It rewards the ones who learn how to rise from it. Chapter 5. The Power of Quiet Moves. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most powerful. The most visible player isn't always the one in control. In a world obsessed with noise, with sharing, showing, and shouting, the real masters of the game move in silence. They don't announce every plan, every victory, or every setback. They understand something that most people never learn. Real power doesn't need to prove itself. It simply acts. We live in an age where everyone is performing. Every achievement is posted. Every goal broadcasted. Every thought turned into a performance for others to consume. People mistake visibility for progress. But progress isn't always visible. In fact, the most transformative moments, the ones that truly shape your future, often happen when no one is watching. Quiet moves are the backbone of lasting success. They're the actions you take in the dark that make you unstoppable in the light. The early mornings spent learning when everyone else is sleeping. The nights you work through doubt while others scroll through distractions. The risks you take privately, without validation, without applause. That's where real growth happens, in the unseen hours. The people who cheat life in their favor understand this. They know that attention can be a trap. When everyone's watching you, you start performing for approval instead of progress. You start moving for applause instead of purpose. Quiet movers don't chase validation. They chase results. They protect their process like a secret recipe, not out of arrogance, but out of wisdom. Because the more people know about your next move, the easier it is for them to influence or sabotage it. There's a kind of peace that comes from working in silence. You're not comparing yourself to others because no one knows what you're doing. You're not chasing instant recognition because you've learned to trust delayed gratification. You begin to fall in love with the process instead of the praise. And that's when you become truly dangerous. Because now your focus can't be disrupted by noise. Think of how nature works. A tree grows in silence. Roots deepen in the dark before branches ever touch the sun. The flower blooms quietly overnight, without announcing its progress. The same is true for greatness. Growth doesn't always make a sound. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stay still while the world shouts around you and prepare for your next move. Quiet moves aren't about secrecy. They're about strategy. It's knowing when to speak and when to hold back, when to reveal and when to conceal, when to show strength and when to let people underestimate you. There's a hidden advantage in being underestimated. It gives you room to maneuver. It allows you to work without the pressure of expectation. In silence, you find clarity. When the noise fades, your thoughts sharpen. You start hearing your own intuition instead of everyone else's opinions. You stop moving reactively and start moving intentionally. You become less concerned with what people think of you and more focused on what you're actually building. That's how quiet power grows, from within. But make no mistake, moving in silence doesn't mean shrinking or hiding. It means being deliberate. It means understanding that not everything deserves an audience. There's strength in mystery, in holding something back, in letting your actions speak long before your words do. Some of the most powerful people in history were masters of quiet moves. They studied, planned, and built behind the scenes, while others were distracted by noise. When they finally stepped forward, their success looked sudden, but it wasn't. It was the result of countless, invisible hours. What others called overnight success was actually years of silent persistence. The quiet move mindset also protects your energy. Every time you announce your goals, you invite opinions. Every time you share your plans too early, you allow doubt to creep in, not just from others, but from yourself. The mind becomes cluttered with feedback, expectations, and comparisons. But when you move quietly, your energy stays focused, unpolluted by external noise. You stop explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand your vision in the first place. Quiet moves are also a shield against ego. Loud success can make you complacent. When people praise you too early, you start believing you've arrived, and that's when progress stops. The humble, quiet achiever stays hungry. They let results, not recognition, define them. They understand that consistency outlasts charisma. Life rewards those who move with patience and precision. The loud ones might look ahead in the short run, but noise burns fast. Silent movers, on the other hand, build momentum like a slow fire, steady, controlled, and unstoppable. When they finally step into the light, they're not just ready, they're inevitable. Here's the paradox. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness. People think if you're not talking about what you're not doing anything. But silence isn't emptiness. It's incubation. It's the sacred space where ideas mature, skills sharpen, and confidence grows. It's where you become the version of yourself that doesn't need external permission to act. There's also a deeper emotional layer to this. When you learn to move quietly, you stop depending on external motivation. You stop waiting for someone to cheer you on, because you realize the only validation you need is your own progress. You stop explaining your dreams to people who don't have the capacity to see them. You stop wasting energy convincing others and start investing it in becoming. Quiet moves teach you self-respect. They remind you that not every season of your life is meant for display. Some chapters are meant for growth, not applause. Some goals are meant to be planted, not posted. And when you honor those private seasons, life rewards you with deeper roots and stronger foundations. The most powerful transformations often happen when no one believes in you, not because you want to prove them wrong, but because you finally stop seeking their approval. You start living for the work itself, for the purpose that burns quietly inside you. That's the real victory. Not public praise, but private peace. And then one day, without warning, you emerge. People will call you lucky. They'll say your success came out of nowhere, but you'll know better. You'll know about the nights no one saw, the plans you never posted, the sacrifices you never mentioned. You'll know that every quiet move was a seed, and now the harvest has come. Moving in silence isn't about hiding. It's about harnessing. It's about keeping your momentum sacred until it's strong enough to stand on its own. The world will always reward noise in the short term, but it respects results in the end. So keep your moves quiet. Let your work speak. Let your growth surprise those who doubted it. Protect your vision until it's too real to be ignored. Because when you master the power of quiet moves, you no longer need to chase validation. You become the proof. And when life tries to cheat you with distraction, noise, and attention traps, remember, silence is your weapon. In silence you see clearly. In silence you plan carefully. In silence you build power. No one can steal. The storm makes the most noise, but it's the still air afterward that changes everything. Be that stillness. Be that calm force that moves without warning, strikes without hesitation, and leaves its mark quietly, but permanently. Chapter Say, Turning Pain into Power. Pain is the one thing every human being understands, yet the one thing most people run from. It humbles the proud, tests the strong, and reveals who you really are when the masks fall away. No matter who you are, how rich, loved, talented, or careful, pain will find you. It will break you open in ways nothing else can. And when it does, you have two choices. You can let it destroy you, or you can let it transform you. Pain is life's most brutal teacher, but it's also the most honest one. It doesn't sugarcoat its lessons. It doesn't flatter your ego. It shows you what's real. It strips away illusions of control, of certainty, of who you thought you were. Pain doesn't ask for permission to enter your life. It simply walks in and demands to be acknowledged. But buried inside that discomfort is a kind of power that few ever learn to access. The power to grow, to rebuild, to evolve into someone unbreakable. People often think cheating life means avoiding pain, but that's the biggest misunderstanding of all. You don't cheat life by escaping struggle. You cheat it by using it. Pain can either poison you or fuel you. The choice is yours. The same fire that burns can also forge. The same wound that hurts can also heal. What determines the outcome isn't the pain itself. It's what you decide to do with it. Every successful person you've ever admired has a backstory soaked in pain. The artist who creates from heartbreak. The athlete who trained through rejection. The entrepreneur who failed 10 times before building something that worked. Pain was the common denominator, not as an obstacle but as the raw material of their greatness. They didn't let it define them. They turned it into drive. Here's the truth. Comfort rarely creates change. When life is easy, we stay still. When things fall apart, we're forced to confront what really matters. Pain wakes you up. It shakes you out of autopilot. It makes you ask hard questions. Who am I without this? What truly matters? What am I willing to fight for? Pain introduces you to your most authentic self. It tears away everything fake and forces you to meet the real you, raw, imperfect, but capable of so much more than you imagined. Most people waste their pain because they focus only on surviving it. They drown in the story of what happened, instead of learning from what it came to teach. They replay the betrayal, the loss, the failure, feeding the wound instead of healing it. But the truth is, pain will not leave you until it has taught you what it came to teach you. And when you finally listen, when you stop resisting and start transforming, the pain begins to lose its power over you. Turning pain into power starts with acceptance, not resignation. Acceptance. You stop fighting reality. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? That single shift changes everything. Because when you accept your pain, You stop being its victim. You start becoming its student. You begin to see it not as punishment, but as preparation. Every heartbreak strengthens your empathy. Every failure sharpens your wisdom. Every loss expands your gratitude. Pain refines character in a way that comfort never can. It teaches humility, that you're not invincible, but you are resilient. It teaches compassion, that everyone is fighting battles you can't see. It teaches perspective, that what feels unbearable today might one day become your greatest strength. But these lessons only appear when you stop running. The truth is, no amount of positivity can erase pain. Healing isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about finding meaning inside the hurt. When you stop asking for the pain to go away and start asking what it's trying to build within you, you move from powerless to powerful. That's the secret transformation, not removing the pain, but repurposing it. You see, pain has energy. It's heavy, yes, but it's also potent. If you channel it into your craft, your growth, your discipline, it becomes fuel. Some of the world's greatest art, music, inventions, and revolutions were born from people who turned heartbreak into creation. They took what tried to destroy them and turned it into something that inspired others. Pain gives you depth. It gives your story gravity. It gives your soul a reason to speak. But turning pain into power doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, brutal process. At first, the hurt consumes you. It makes you doubt, isolate, question everything. You'll feel lost, broken, maybe even angry at life. That's okay. That's the breaking part. And every strong structure needs breaking before rebuilding. What matters most is that you don't stay there. You allow the pain to pass through you, but you refuse to let it stay inside you. You learn to breathe again, step by step. Pain also teaches patience. You begin to understand that healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll collapse, but every moment you keep moving, even if it's just crawling, is a victory. Because movement, no matter how small, is proof that the pain didn't paralyze you. It's proof that life can wound you, but it cannot stop you. And somewhere along the way, something beautiful happens. You start to see patterns in your pain. You start realizing that every time life broke you, it was preparing you for the next level. That heartbreak taught you boundaries. That failure taught you persistence. That loss taught you gratitude. You begin to understand that pain was never your enemy. It was your initiation. The world often praises strength as the ability to endure without breaking. But real strength isn't about not breaking. It's about breaking and rebuilding better. It's about turning your scars into armor, your heartbreak into wisdom, your suffering into compassion. Every scar tells a story. I survived. I learned. I became. Cheating life means using every ounce of your pain as a weapon, not against others, but against your own limitations. It means refusing to let trauma become your identity. It means taking your brokenness and building something sacred out of it. You take what was meant to silence you and use it to give yourself a voice. You take the betrayal that hurt you and use it to sharpen your intuition. You take the fear that froze you and use it as fuel for courage. Turning pain into power is not about forgetting what happened. It's about remembering differently. It's about taking control of the narrative. You stop saying, "This ruined me," and start saying, "This shaped me." You stop defining yourself by what you lost, and start defining yourself by what you found in the aftermath. Resilience, self-respect, purpose. And then, something shifts. The same pain that once made you cry, now makes you grateful. You start to thank it for what it taught you. You see how it humbled your ego, awakened your empathy, deepened your faith. You begin to realize that pain was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your awakening. Because here's the greatest truth of all. The things that hurt you the most often reveal the parts of you that are meant to lead others. Your wounds become your wisdom. Your scars become your credentials. Your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Pain connects us. It's the thread that reminds us we're all human, all trying, all learning. So the next time pain knocks at your door, don't hide, don't numb it, don't bury it under distractions. Invite it in. Listen to what it came to teach. Cry if you must. Scream if you have to. But then pick up the pieces and start building. Let the pain mold you, not muffle you. Let it teach you how to love deeper, work harder, dream bolder. Because once you learn to turn pain into power, life can't use it against you anymore. You become untouchable. You stop fearing hardship because you know it can only make you stronger. You stop seeking a painless life and start seeking a purposeful one. And that's when you truly cheat life, not by avoiding the storm, but by learning how to dance in the rain. Pain will visit you again. That's inevitable. But now you'll greet it differently. You'll look it in the eye and say, I know what you are. You're not here to break me. You're here to build me. And that's the moment you reclaim your power. That's the moment life realizes it can no longer cheat you, because you've learned how to turn every wound into a weapon, every loss into a lesson, and every ounce of pain into unstoppable power. Chapter 7. Playing the long game. We live in a world addicted to speed. Everyone wants instant results, quick success, overnight fame, fast money, immediate validation. The problem is, real success doesn't happen that way. Real success, the kind that lasts, takes time, patience, and endurance. It's built slowly, quietly, brick by brick, failure by failure, lesson by lesson. Playing the long game isn't just about waiting. It's about understanding that growth takes seasons, and every season has a purpose. Life will tempt you to take shortcuts. It will whisper lies like, you're behind, you're too slow, everyone else is ahead of you. You'll scroll through people's highlight reels and start doubting your own path. But what you don't see are the years they spent in the dark before the spotlight found them. What you don't see are the nights they doubted everything but kept going anyway. The long game isn't glamorous. It's not built for applause. It's built for mastery. The long game begins when you stop chasing fast and start chasing forever. It's when you decide that depth matters more than display, that progress matters more than perception. Most people quit because they confuse slow progress with no progress. But slow progress is the most powerful kind. It's steady, intentional, and sustainable. The long game is about playing with vision, not emotion. It's about seeing beyond the moment, beyond the noise, beyond the instant reward. Patience is the hardest discipline to master, especially when you feel unseen. You'll wonder if your effort is even worth it. You'll question whether anyone will ever notice your work, your growth, your struggle. But remember this, the seed doesn't doubt its purpose just because it's buried. Growth happens underground before it ever happens in public. The roots grow first, unseen and uncelebrated. The same goes for your dreams. The long game is about trusting the invisible work. In a culture that celebrates shortcuts, patience becomes rebellion. Playing the long game means you refuse to trade long-term peace for short-term applause. It means you're willing to wait for the right opportunity. Instead of chasing every one that comes your way, it means building something that lasts, instead of something that trends. You understand that consistency compounds, that small actions done daily, even without recognition, create unstoppable momentum over time. The long game is not just about endurance, it's about evolution. It teaches you that every season has a purpose. The wins, the losses, the waiting, the wandering. Some seasons are for planting, some for pruning, and some for blooming. But if you try to bloom in a planting season, you rob yourself of depth. The long game teaches you to respect the rhythm of growth, to know when to push and when to pause. Those who cheat life in their favor understand this truth. Patience is not passivity, it's precision. It's knowing when to act and when to hold back. It's realizing that not every opportunity deserves a yes, and not every delay is a denial. When you play the long game, you stop reacting to every obstacle like it's the end. You start seeing it as part of the larger design, a test, a detour, or even protection from something not meant for you yet. Playing the long game requires faith, not blind faith, but disciplined faith. The kind that keeps you moving even when you can't see results. It's believing in your vision when no one else does. It's holding on to purpose when motivation fades. Motivation is loud and temporary. Discipline is quiet and permanent. The long game belongs to the disciplined. Most people give up, not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They want the reward without the wait, the recognition without the repetition. They forget that the process is the prize. The lessons you learn while waiting prepare you to handle the success you're asking for. Because success that arrives before you're ready isn't a blessing, it's a burden. The long game protects you from that. To play the long game, you must also learn to detach from timelines. Timelines are man-made expectations that create unnecessary pressure. Society will tell you when you should graduate, marry, succeed, retire, but your timing doesn't have to match anyone else's. Life doesn't run on deadlines. It runs on readiness. The longer it takes, the more it's teaching you. You're not late. You're being prepared. Think of a mountain climber. They don't sprint to the top. They pace themselves. Every step is deliberate. Every pause calculated. They don't climb to impress the people watching from below. They climb because the view at the top is worth every scar. That's the essence of the long game. Patience in the climb, trust in the process, faith in the vision. Playing the long game also means learning how to lose without losing yourself, because there will be losses. Lots of them. There will be times when you feel like nothing's working, when progress seems invisible. But if you can endure through that, if you can stay calm when everything falls apart, you become untouchable. You stop living in reaction and start living in rhythm. You begin to understand that consistency outlasts luck and endurance outshines talent. Here's what no one tells you. The long game can feel lonely. It's not crowded at the top because it's not crowded on the way up. Most people quit halfway. They don't have the stomach for silence, for slow seasons, for the kind of patience success demands. But the ones who stay, they're the ones who build empires, while everyone else chases trends. The long game separates the temporary from the timeless. In the long game, time becomes your ally instead of your enemy. You start seeing each year not as something to escape, but as something to invest in. You realize that the person who stays consistent for 10 years will always outperform the one who hustles for 10 months. Time rewards those who respect it, and the beauty of the long game is this. Once you commit to it, time starts working for you instead of against you. Cheating life doesn't mean hacking time. It means partnering with it. You use patience as your secret weapon. You let others rush while you refine. You let them burn out while you build quietly, because when the noise fades, it's the steady players who remain. You learn to stop measuring your life by quick wins and start measuring it by growth. You stop comparing your progress to others because you realize everyone's playing a different game on a different timeline with different lessons. The long game teaches you to stay in your lane, to focus not on being the fastest, but on being the most faithful. The long game also teaches grace. Grace for yourself, grace for the process, grace for the people who don't understand why you're taking the slow road. It reminds you that not everything needs to happen now. Some dreams need time to mature. Some callings need time to clarify. Some success needs time to be sustainable. And when you finally arrive, when the years of quiet effort start paying off, you'll realize something profound. You didn't just achieve a goal, you became someone entirely new. The person who started the journey wouldn't have survived the success that awaited at the end. That's why it took so long. You needed to grow into the version of yourself who could handle it. When you play the long game, you stop being in competition with others and start being in collaboration with time. You understand that patience isn't waiting for things to happen, it's preparing for when they do. You realize that life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon disguised as a puzzle. Every step, every delay, every disappointment fits together in a way you'll only understand when you look back. So when life tests your patience, when it feels like nothing's moving, remember this. Slow doesn't mean still. You're growing roots. You're building foundation. You're gaining depth. You're mastering the art of timing. You're not behind. You're building something that can't be broken. Because anyone can start fast. Few can stay steady. The world belongs to the ones who endure. Playing the long game is the ultimate cheat code. Because while everyone else is chasing quick wins, you're creating something time can't take away. So move steady, stay focused, trust the process, play the long game, and one day, when the noise has faded and the dust has settled, you'll realize something beautiful. You didn't just win the game of life, you rewrote it. Chapter 8. The moment you become uncheatable. There comes a point, a quiet, unannounced moment, when life stops surprising you with its tricks. It's not that everything suddenly becomes easy. It's that you finally understand the game. You've seen how it tests, how it tempts, how it rewards the wrong people and punishes the right ones. You've learned how it disguises lessons as losses and blessings as burdens. And through all of it, something inside you hardens, not into bitterness, but into wisdom. That's the moment you become uncheatable. Becoming uncheatable doesn't mean you've mastered every skill or conquered every challenge. It means you've reached a level of awareness where life can no longer play you the same way twice. You see through manipulation, through illusion, through the false promises of shortcuts and instant gratification. You start to move with strategy instead of reaction. You stop chasing validation, because you've learned the most dangerous game of all is the one where you need constant applause to feel worthy. The uncheatable person isn't perfect. They're aware. They've lived enough to know that every easy path hides a trap. Every glittering prize comes with a cost, and every disappointment carries a lesson. They've been betrayed enough to spot dishonesty from a mile away, failed enough to stop fearing failure, and hurt enough to stop running from pain. When life tries to play the same old game, they just smile, because now they know the moves. The path to becoming uncheatable starts with brutal self-honesty. You stop lying to yourself about what you want, who you are, and what you've been pretending to be. You confront your own patterns, the excuses, the cycles, the fears you've used to sabotage yourself. Because before you can stop life from cheating you, you have to stop cheating yourself. Every time you settle for less, avoid your potential, or silence your intuition, you let life win. Becoming uncheatable begins with reclaiming your own integrity. When you start living with that kind of honesty, your entire world shifts. You stop begging for fairness and start building resilience. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That question is power, because now, even when life hits hard, you extract meaning instead of misery. You stop playing victim in a game where you can be the player. To be uncheatable means you no longer measure success by what others see. You measure it by your peace, your growth, and your ability to stay centered when everything around you shakes. You don't need to prove your worth because you've already earned it through fire. You've walked through enough storms to know that validation fades, but self-respect doesn't. You've built a foundation so strong that external chaos can't touch your inner calm. Life will still test you. It always does. The difference is, now you expect it. You see the pattern behind the pain. You recognize that each test is a level designed to elevate you, not end you. You stop asking for easier battles and start asking for stronger skills. The things that used to break you now sharpen you. The things that used to scare you now excite you, because you know that beyond every hardship lies a piece of your evolution. Being uncheatable also means mastering your emotions, not suppressing them, but understanding them. You learn that anger can be power if you channel it, that sadness can become compassion if you process it, that fear can be fuel if you face it. The world loses its grip on you when you stop being ruled by emotional impulses. Life can only cheat you if it can provoke you. The uncheatable person doesn't react, they respond. Another part of becoming uncheatable is learning detachment, not from people or love, but from outcomes. You stop clinging to how things should be and start flowing with how they are. You realize that sometimes the door closing isn't rejection, it's redirection. You stop chasing what's leaving and start nurturing what's staying. Detachment gives you power because nothing outside you can control you anymore. You want things, but you don't need them. You love people, but you don't lose yourself in them. You face uncertainty, but you no longer fear it. One of the most important lessons on this path is that peace is the ultimate prize. The world sells ambition, fame, and attention, but peace, real, deep, unshakable peace, is rarer than gold. When you reach that level of inner stillness, you become untouchable. People can misunderstand you, criticize you, leave you, but they can't move you. You stop being addicted to noise. You no longer crave chaos to feel alive. You can sit in silence and still feel full. That's what real power looks like. To play the long game of life, to move with quiet power, to turn pain into strength. All of it leads here. Every setback, every heartbreak, every failure was preparing you for this state of being. The moment when you realize that life's tricks no longer work on you, you can still be challenged, but you can't be fooled. You can still fall, but you won't stay down. You can still feel pain, but you'll never let it own you again. The uncheatable person knows how to listen more than they speak. They observe more than they react. They plan more than they post. They don't need to announce every move because they know the power of patience. They don't let others pull them into meaningless battles because they understand that not every attack deserves a response. They know that silence sometimes is the loudest answer. To reach this point, you have to go through everything you were afraid of. You have to lose people you thought you couldn't live without. You have to fail at things you thought would define you. You have to face loneliness, doubt, and heartbreak. Not to destroy you, but to refine you, because wisdom isn't learned, it's lived. The uncheatable version of you exists on the other side of every storm you thought you wouldn't survive. And when you finally stand there, calm, grounded, focused, life will try one last time to provoke you. It will tempt you with old fears, familiar struggles, and recycled distractions. But this time, you'll recognize them instantly. You'll smile and say, "I've seen this move before." That's when life realizes it can't cheat you anymore. You've graduated from reaction to awareness, from panic to purpose, from chaos to clarity. Being uncheatable doesn't mean life stops testing you. It means you've learned the rules so deeply that you can bend them without breaking yourself. You've learned that success isn't a finish line, it's a rhythm. You've learned that happiness isn't a goal, it's a skill. You've learned that peace isn't found, it's created. The ultimate cheat code in life isn't manipulation, shortcuts, or luck. It's awareness. Once you're aware, you can't be played. You see through the distractions. You stop fighting every small battle and start saving your energy for the war that matters, the one between who you were and who you're becoming. So when life tries to cheat you again, with unfairness, rejection, loss, don't panic. Smile. You've already passed the test. You've turned pain into wisdom, silence into strength, patience into power. You've become the version of yourself who no longer plays to win, because you already are the win. That's what it means to be uncheatable. Not invincible, but aware. Not perfect, but present. Not fearless, but unshakably faithful. And once you reach that point, when your peace is stronger than your pain, when your purpose is louder than your doubt, when your discipline outlasts your distractions, there's nothing left for life to cheat you out of. You've already won. Chapter 9. The Art of Rewriting Your Story. At some point in life, we all wake up to a quiet truth. The story we've been living isn't entirely ours. It's a story shaped by expectations, by other people's voices, by the weight of things we never chose but learned to carry. We were told who to be, how to act, what to dream, and what to avoid. We were handed scripts long before we understood the power of authorship, and for years, maybe decades, we followed those scripts until one day, something inside us whispers, "This can't be it." That whisper is the beginning of everything. It's the moment your soul starts rebelling against the version of life you've been told to accept. It's the first spark of awareness that says, "I can change this." That realization that you are the author, not just the character, is the foundation of freedom. Because once you understand that you can rewrite your story, no amount of past pain or pressure can define your future. Rewriting your story doesn't mean pretending your past didn't happen. It means reclaiming control over the meaning of it. The past doesn't have to dictate who you become. It can simply inform it. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every disappointment, these are not life sentences, they're plot twists. You get to decide whether they make you bitter or better, closed or compassionate, stuck or strong. The truth is, many people never rewrite their story because they don't believe they can. They think life is something that happens to them, not something they can shape. They get trapped in the identity of who they were yesterday. The failures, the trauma, the labels. They wear their pain like a uniform, forgetting they can change their clothes. But you don't have to keep living inside an outdated version of yourself. You don't owe your past a lifetime subscription. To rewrite your story, you must first confront it. You have to face the chapters you'd rather skip, the ones filled with shame, regret, or loss. Avoiding them only keeps you tied to them. But when you face them, when you read them with compassion instead of judgment, something shifts. You start seeing patterns. You begin to understand why you made certain choices, why you stayed where you didn't belong, why you settled for less than you deserved. Awareness breaks the spell. Once you see your old story for what it is, a collection of beliefs, experiences, and reactions, you can start editing. You ask yourself, which parts still serve me? Which parts are keeping me small? Maybe the story that once protected you, the one that told you to play safe, to avoid risk, to not trust anyone, is now the very thing holding you back. Rewriting your story means replacing those fear-based narratives with truth-based ones. You begin to write from courage instead of caution. This process takes time. You can't rewrite a lifetime in a day. It's like remodeling a house. You have to tear down the walls before you can rebuild. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it hurts, but every tear, every moment of clarity, every small act of forgiveness becomes a stroke of ink in your new chapter. One of the hardest parts of rewriting your story is letting go of who you were to make space for who you're becoming. People around you won't always understand. They'll want you to stay familiar, predictable, comfortable, not because they're evil, but because your growth challenges their stagnation. The moment you begin to change, you remind others that they can too, and that's terrifying for them. So they'll call you selfish, different, or not the same anymore. Take that as confirmation that you're evolving. You're not supposed to stay the same. When you start rewriting your story, you also start reclaiming your narrative from the voices that once defined it. Parents, teachers, bosses, lovers, society. You stop asking, "What will they think?" and start asking, "What do I think?" You stop living in reaction to other people's expectations and start building a life aligned with your truth. It's not about erasing them from your story. It's about taking back the pen. The pen, after all, is your greatest power. With it, you can rewrite tragedy into transformation, rejection into redirection, loss into legacy. You realize that the worst chapters of your life were never meant to be your ending. They were meant to reveal your resilience. Every heartbreak taught you what love truly is. Every failure showed you how to rise. Every mistake carved wisdom into your bones. The story was never broken, it was just unfinished. To rewrite your story, you must also release the need to be perfect. Perfection is the enemy of progress. You don't need to have every detail figured out. You just need to start writing differently. You can't edit a blank page. The beauty of rewriting is that it's an ongoing act. Every choice you make, every boundary you set, every truth you speak is a new sentence in your story. The act of choosing differently is the rewrite. At some point, you'll begin to notice something profound. Your story no longer controls you, you control it. You stop reliving your past and start redesigning your present. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you and realize you were the hero all along. The moment you take accountability, not for what happened, but for what happens next, is the moment your power returns. There's a peace that comes with rewriting your story. It's the peace of knowing that you are no longer stuck in the loop of what was. You've accepted the pain, forgiven what you can, and made peace with what you couldn't change. You begin to live with gratitude for every chapter, even the painful ones, because without them, you wouldn't have the perspective you have now. And then the world begins to change around you, not because it's different, but because you are. The same situations no longer drain you. The same triggers no longer pull you under. You start recognizing opportunities you couldn't see before because your story no longer blinds you to them. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to be, but because alignment naturally attracts what's meant for you. Rewriting your story doesn't end with a grand finale. It continues for as long as you live. There will be new challenges, new characters, new lessons. But the difference now is that you're writing consciously. You're no longer reacting to life. You're creating it. You understand that even when the plot takes unexpected turns, you hold the pen. You might not control what happens, but you always control what it means. You are not your trauma. You are not your past. You are not the mistakes you made when you didn't know better. You are the author, and every day you wake up, you get a blank page. You can write strength where there was weakness, peace where there was chaos, power where there was fear. So if you've been living a story that doesn't feel like yours, this is your moment. Pick up the pen, rewrite it. Refuse to be a character in a script you didn't choose. You don't need permission to change your life. You just need the courage to begin again. Because the greatest revenge against a life that once cheated you is not anger, it's authorship. It's looking at every hardship and saying, "Thank you for the plot twist. I'll take it from here." When you learn the art of rewriting your story, you realize something powerful. You were never stuck. You were just holding the wrong pen. And the moment you take it back, the story finally becomes what it was always meant to be. Yours. Chapter 10. The Final Move. Mastering the game. There comes a moment, somewhere between exhaustion and enlightenment, when you stop chasing life and start understanding it. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" You stop trying to win every small battle and start seeing the larger strategy. That's when you realize life was never your enemy. It was your teacher, disguised as chaos. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every betrayal was a move on the board, not to defeat you, but to develop you. Life has been playing chess while you've been playing checkers. It wasn't trying to punish you. It was trying to prepare you. And the moment you see that, you unlock the highest level of the game, awareness. Mastering life isn't about controlling every outcome. It's about learning how to adapt to them. It's about knowing when to move, when to wait, and when to let go. It's realizing that the goal isn't to win fast, but to play wisely. It's understanding that every apparent loss carries hidden leverage, and every delay hides divine timing. Once you start seeing the game this way, you stop playing emotionally and start playing intelligently. Life is a long game of strategy, patience, and perspective. Those who rush make reckless moves. Those who pause, observe, and plan, they last. Every decision, every silence, every setback is a piece of the puzzle. The more you play consciously, the clearer the patterns become. You start seeing that the moments you thought were endings were actually transitions, and the moments you thought were unfair were setups for growth. The biggest mistake people make is assuming life can be mastered through control. But control is an illusion. You can't control the moves of others, the timing of opportunities, or the unpredictability of fate. What you can control is how you respond, how you prepare, and how you interpret what happens. Mastery doesn't come from power, it comes from peace. The ability to remain centered when everything around you spins. To master the game, you must learn how to separate your emotion from your execution. Emotion clouds judgment. It makes you play out of fear or pride instead of purpose. But when you start responding from clarity, not impulse, you begin to see options that others miss. You start making moves that don't make sense to the impatient, but that in time change everything. The quiet players always seem strange to the loud ones. While everyone else rushes to show progress, they're still watching, learning, planning. They move with precision, not panic. They understand that patience is not inactivity, it's strategy. They know that in every season of life, there's a time to act and a time to wait, and waiting, when done consciously, is one of the most powerful moves you can make. The masters of life don't waste energy fighting everything they don't understand. They know that resistance burns energy that could be used for creation. Instead of reacting to every storm, they learn to read the weather. They stop running from change and start partnering with it. They see that even chaos has rhythm, and that rhythm can be used to their advantage. But here's the truth. Mastery doesn't happen without humility. You can't master what you refuse to learn from. You can't win a game you think you're too good to play. Life will humble you until you realize that every level requires a new version of you. What worked at the last level will fail at the next. You'll have to unlearn, reinvent, and adapt again and again. The person who truly masters life doesn't claim to know everything. They stay endlessly curious. They listen more than they speak. They ask more than they assume. They're not afraid to be a beginner, even after they've become an expert, because they understand that the moment you think you've arrived, the game changes. Life mastery also means understanding the difference between movement and progress. Many people stay busy without ever moving forward. They mistake chaos for purpose, activity for achievement. But mastery requires stillness, the ability to sit in uncertainty without rushing to fill it. It's the patience to wait for the right opportunity instead of chasing every shiny distraction. At the highest level, mastering life becomes less about accumulation of wealth, attention, or status, and more about alignment. You start caring less about what looks successful and more about what feels authentic. You measure your success by how much peace you have, how freely you love, how deeply you sleep at night. Because what's the point of winning the game if you lose yourself in the process? To master the game, you must learn how to detach from outcomes while giving your all to the process. You show up fully, do your best, and release the rest. You stop forcing results and start flowing with reality. You begin to see that every time something doesn't work out, it's redirecting you towards something that will. Life doesn't cheat you, it corrects you. The final move of mastery is surrender, not as defeat, but as wisdom. Surrender means trusting that what's meant for you will never require you to betray yourself to keep it. It's understanding that not every battle needs to be fought. Not every person needs to be convinced. Not every plan needs to be perfect. Sometimes, the most powerful move is to let go, because letting go isn't giving up. It's giving space for something better. You become a master, not when life stops testing you, but when its tests no longer unbalance you. You stop expecting certainty and start embracing flow. You stop needing everything to go right and start seeing how even what goes wrong can serve you. The uncheatable player knows how to pivot without panic, how to lose without losing faith, how to pause without losing purpose. The masters of life move differently. They don't rush, they don't compare, they don't chase. They attract by being aligned, focused, and grounded. They understand that power isn't loud, it's calm. True strength isn't about domination, it's about direction. It's the quiet knowing that nothing can truly take from you what's meant for you. And here's the secret. Mastery isn't about beating others, it's about beating your old self. Every level of life demands a more evolved version of you. Mastery is becoming so self-aware, so emotionally intelligent, so disciplined, that no external chaos can destroy your internal peace. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop seeking and start embodying. When you reach that point, life's cheats don't work anymore. Not because they disappear, but because you see through them. You recognize that every storm comes to strengthen your roots. Every setback hides a setup. Every ending opens space for renewal. The game hasn't changed, but you have. You've learned that real success isn't about control, it's about flow. Real peace isn't about safety, it's about surrender. Real strength isn't about winning, it's about withstanding. You've learned that every moment, no matter how painful, was part of your training. Life wasn't cheating you, it was teaching you how to play better. And now you stand in that awareness, calm, patient, focused. You don't need to rush or prove anything. You've played the game, lost some pieces, rebuilt your board, and learned the rules by heart. You've mastered the art of cheating life, not through manipulation or deceit, but through understanding. The final move is simple but profound. You stop fighting life and start dancing with it. You realize that sometimes the only way to win is to stop trying to win at all, to trust the flow, to stay present, to keep playing, not for glory, but for growth. Because the moment you stop chasing control and start embracing awareness, you've already won. That sets the end of the game. Not because you finished it, but because now you play it on your own terms. And so here we are, at the edge of everything. After all the lessons, all the battles, all the chapters of breaking, rebuilding, and becoming, there's one truth that remains. Life isn't meant to be beaten. It's meant to be understood. The title said it all. Sometimes you have to cheat with life, but now you know what that really means. It was never about trickery or deceit. It was about awareness, about refusing to play blind in a game that thrives on distraction. It was about learning to see through the illusions, the false timelines, the hollow rules, the empty expectations, and realizing that you can bend life in your favor when you finally stop letting it bend you. You've learned that the real cheats aren't shortcuts, they're shifts. Shifts in how you see, how you react, how you choose. You've learned that winning isn't about being ahead, it's about being awake. You've learned that the greatest power you'll ever hold is the ability to choose your meaning, to take every unfair hand you were dealt and still play it like a master. You've discovered that pain isn't punishment. It's preparation, that patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom, that silence isn't absence, it's strategy. You've learned how to fail without folding, how to love without losing yourself, how to walk away without anger, and how to rise without noise. And maybe, most importantly, you've learned that life doesn't owe you fairness, but it does offer you freedom, the freedom to think differently, to move differently, to become differently, to no longer play by the rules that keep others trapped. Now you stand in the rarest position, awareness. The game still goes on, but you're no longer just a piece on the board. You're the player. You make your own moves. You see every challenge as a clue, every loss as leverage, every ending as evolution. You've learned how to read between life's lines and rewrite your own. So when the world tells you to slow down, to play safe, to wait your turn, remember this: you don't have to. You've earned the right to move differently. You've earned the wisdom to play smarter. You've earned the courage to bend the rules of ordinary living into a strategy for extraordinary becoming. Life will still test you. It always will. But you'll meet those tests differently now. Not with fear, but with calm. Not with anger, but with understanding. Because you've seen the pattern, you've mastered the lesson. You've learned that every cheat code life hides is disguised as a choice: react or rise, settle or evolve, obey or outgrow. And in that choice, that quiet, powerful decision to rise above, you've already won. So close this book, but don't close the game. Walk into the world with your awareness sharp, your spirit steady, and your moves deliberate. You've learned how to cheat life before it cheats you. Not by outsmarting it, but by aligning with it. Because in the end, the ultimate cheat is peace. And now you have it.